Welcome back to Talos of Tech, ladies and gentlemen. I know, lots of changes all happening at once. Long story short, I moved for various different reasons, but feel free to check out what all those reasons are over on Talos of Talks, where I uploaded a video called We're Moving, Here's Why. All the details you can find over there. For those curious if this is my permanent setup, if this is how things are going to be forever, absolutely not. This is day one of the move. There's still a lot of unpacking. There's still a lot of setting up to do over here. So if you don't like this, this is temporary, but if you do like this, then I may keep doing it, you know? I'm moving offices, so I figured I'd try some new formats, some new filming styles, but the important thing to remember is everything can be changed right now. Nothing is set in stone, so in regards to this setup and how things look and sound, just let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. But without further ado, I've realized that through all this madness of Tesla reviews and AirPower being canceled and new iPad minis and such, I haven't really gotten a chance to tell you about my experience with the new AirPods, the official AirPods 2, as Apple has called it. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, so that's what we're going to be doing starting now. First off, I know what most people go for when they want to talk about what the big changes are with AirPods 2 is the charging light on the front. But what's funny is there's actually been more changes that have come to the back of the device that are more noticeable. For one, the hinge is a bit shorter now. It's not as long as it was before. It's also more of a metallic finish, a much more matte color than before where you had a more glossy hinge on the back. Also, the pair button is a bit more centered. It's a bit more higher up on the AirPods case compared to the OG versions. Not that these make huge differences. I'm just saying, if you want to talk about design changes, there are certainly some on the front and back, but when it comes to the AirPods themselves and how they are in your ears, no, there's basically no changes there. But performance-wise, a lot has been improved that I appreciate. Likely stuff you've heard before, but regardless, I think it's stuff that needed to be changed to the AirPods, so I'm very grateful that Apple did them. First of all, H1 chip, which improves latency and faster switching between devices, which I very much appreciate, and as I've talked about in previous tech videos, I use my AirPods a lot for talking to people on FaceTime or on the phone. So knowing now that the talk time has been expanded by 50%, that was actually one of the more driving factors for me getting this new pair. The wireless charging is cool, and you guys know me, I'm all in on that portless challenge. So finding out that now AirPods can finally support Qi, that was a big reason for me to upgrade as well to the new pair. But yeah, the talk time I think is the more functional reason. It's a lot bigger reason than just the wireless charging case, because honestly, if there were no changes to the pods themselves, I would likely have just gotten the regular charge case, which Apple offers at $80. But because these had the improved talk time, I use these literally for recording the Talos of Tech podcast every single week, and I always run into the problem of one of the AirPods dying faster than the other because it uses that microphone quicker. Now, about the price tag, I've seen a lot of people bring this up and criticize it. They did raise the price of AirPods 2 up $40, which some people may say is completely not worth it or nothing in comparison to what the Galaxy Buds can offer for a mere $130, but honestly, if you look up a couple people's reviews comparing the Galaxy Buds to Apple's AirPods, the microphone quality is totally different. As someone who's used the Galaxy Buds as well, I can tell you that the microphones on the Galaxy Buds are not very good at all, and they also feel a little bit less intuitive. So, not saying that the Galaxy Buds are worthless headphones. I've used them for prolonged experiences, and they're quite good. I love the noise reduction on them. They have a lot of nice features built into their app on Samsung phones, but frankly, if you don't care that much about the noise cancellation, it can be a much worse experience, which is why, in my opinion, the AirPods 2 for a lot of people could be worth it over the Galaxy Buds. Not everyone, but if you're embedded deep into the Apple ecosystem like I am, that's certainly going to be a fairly huge driving factor that you can switch between all of your Apple devices so quickly with these. The Apple pairing method does feel a little bit faster initially, and AirPods, once you put them inside the case, do charge a little bit faster than Galaxy Buds do. Plus, the battery case themselves offers much more battery in the long term than Galaxy Buds, which we've talked about on video before. But all of the changes made with AirPods 2, I think, are quite incremental, which I understand why so many people are calling it AirPods S, as in it's an S upgrade. It's not a full number upgrade where we get huge design changes or massive sound quality improvement. No, but frankly, because of the success we've seen with AirPods, I don't necessarily think we need that right now. All really Apple needs to do is focus a little bit more on perfecting those AirPods and making them more seamless within the ecosystem. In this case, improving the chip, because those first generation AirPods had not been changed since 2016. So yeah, it was about time for a spec upgrade where we could get improved talk time, and of course wireless charging, which we've had on 2 generations of iPhones now. Knowing it's possible with this charge case was kind of a no-brainer for Apple. It's like, come on, add that in, because let's get people to move away from Lightning if at all possible, okay? So now that I have the wireless charging on the AirPods 2, that's one more reason I don't need a Lightning cable, because I don't charge my iPhone via cable. I'm all in on wireless, which means that sadly the one thing I have to keep using Lightning for yep, can't avoid it. There's no other way to charge this stupid mouse, which sadly I love using a lot. It's very helpful in editing processes. I love being able to scroll up and down and side to side. I like the Magic Mice, but the charge method, I agree, is very stupid. Plus, it doesn't make it any better that it is Lightning. You can't even make it USB-C. I'm hoping that when Apple launches the Magic Mouse 3 or the Magic Keyboard 3, they'll at least let you charge them inductively. I wouldn't mind dropping my mouse on a Qi charger every once in a while just to keep it at 100, or like other companies have done, make a mouse pad that's an inductive charging pad, so the mouse collects power from the pad it has to move around on. That is so smart, but yeah, Apple's not there yet. I do notice when opening and closing the lid that the hinge actually makes the lid open a little bit differently. Compared to the first generation, it would rattle a tad when you flicked it open like a lighter real quick, but with these, it feels more rigid. It feels more solid and not as rickety or rockety as they are before. However, I've only been using these obviously for about a week, so perhaps it's just that my old AirPods have worn out and these ones haven't yet, so I guess we'll see in the long term. But a lot of people have asked if the sound quality is actually better. And getting the answers from Apple are quite confusing, because first of all, Apple came to MKBHD, another huge tech YouTuber, and said specifically that the sound quality has not changed, but a ton of people were confused by that because they read it on the site as no matter what you're doing, you'll experience higher quality sound. And there were multiple ways to interpret that. Overall, I just think it was worded weird, because if it is true that the sound quality hasn't changed, which in my day-to-day experience, I don't think it has. So I don't think the OG AirPod sound quality is that bad in the first place. So I'm okay with them staying the way they are. If you're an audiophile out there and you hate the way they sound, then yeah, you're not going to get any improvements there. But for me, they were already good enough. There were very rare times where I actually was listening to my AirPods nonstop for 5 hours and I had to put them back in a charge case. The one time I've had to do that is riding on an airplane. Other than that, there's never really been a big stretch of time in my life where I've just been listening to music for that long. But for the talk time being improved, yeah, that's worth it to me. Some other tech YouTubers out there have claimed that they can hear a difference on their new version, but personally, I think that may have more to do with the degradation of their old pair of AirPods compared to just overall sound quality being improved internally, because as you use AirPods for years and years, earwax will build up inside them, the lithium inside each pod will degrade, and overall they may sound worse than they used to in the past, so getting a new pair may just instantly make them sound better. I personally have switched back and forth to my old pair of AirPods and then switched up to my new pair, and for a second it did sound like they sounded better, but on Twitch we actually did a blind test where I didn't know which one I was putting in, but I kept my eyes stuck to the ceiling and then switched them back and forth and couldn't really tell much of a difference. And my old pair of AirPods is really not that old. I bought them back in October, so it's not like there's a huge amount of degradation on them, but if you're asking me personally, is there a sound quality change on the second generation? No, there is not. But then the next question becomes, what is in store for AirPods 3? There's already a ton of updates and rumors from leakers out there that have said that we're supposed to get a more matte finish, we're supposed to get more color options, bass enhancement, even a design change perhaps later this year. Personally, I find that a little bit hard to believe. I know there's a lot of analysts telling us to believe that, but at the same time, it took Apple nearly 3 years to do anything with the first generation AirPods, and now people are saying that they're going to completely refresh them with a third generation in a mere 6 months, given a lot of analysts are saying they would launch them with the new iPhone. Not saying it's completely impossible. Maybe Apple felt like these were supposed to come out in September of 2018, as we saw the Hello Siri feature teased in that September 2018 keynote, and the boxes of AirPods have copyright 2018 written on them. Maybe that is possible. Maybe Apple was planning on re-releasing these AirPods second generation back in September, but because they couldn't get AirPower out, they kept delaying it it and delaying it, but this time they're not going to delay it any further so that when the 2019 iPhones drop, the iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Max, those can ship with the 3rd generation AirPods, and then we can get these headphones back on a yearly schedule. But I'm sure a lot of you are wondering for yourself, what do I wait for? Should I buy these new pair of AirPods or should I wait for the 3rd generations coming out in September? Like I said, I'm highly skeptical about that. Will they really refresh them 6 months later? Wouldn't be the first time Apple would refresh something like that quickly. They have done it with iPads in the past once they find a new standard, but it all comes down to what you find most important with your headphones. Is it the talk time battery? Is it the wireless charging? What are the current state of your AirPods? Are they working okay right now? If they are, and you're happy with them, and you don't really care about charging them inductively, you don't care about giving them some kind of engraving on the front, which I did, and you don't care about the latency being a little bit less, maybe wait, because I think once September rolls around, we'll definitely know whether or not we should expect a new pair. If we don't see them mid-September, then I would say, okay, maybe stop waiting at this point. But obviously, if we do see a relaunch of AirPods 3 in September, you'll know for sure by then if you want the new pair, if the sound quality's worth it, and if that matte finish in the black option is going to completely sell you over. But don't be completely against the idea of a price jump, because Apple is known for doing that kind of thing. Personally, I don't care too much to see new generation AirPods this quickly, because for when I bought the 2nd generation, and that would date them very, very quickly, but I also just want to see Apple focus more on ProPods, over-ear headphones with really, really good sound quality, sporting that H1 chip, as it appears now that Apple wants to design custom silicon chips just designed for headphones like AirPods and perhaps over-ears later this year, we'll see. But I think Apple's kind of conquered the Bluetooth and wearable market. I think they need to start going into the over-ear market, as Beats is moving into the truly wireless earbuds market soon, so I think that is the most natural progression for Apple in the future. Let me know what you think of AirPods 2 and the possibility of ProPods or the AirPods 3, any of that good stuff down in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.